Welcome to your January 9th edition of CNN Student News. I'm Carl Azus. In less than a month, the 22nd Winter Olympic Games will kick off in Sochi, Russia. The opening ceremony is Friday, February 7th. Here's a by-the-numbers look at what's ahead. 6,000 athletes competing, the best in winter sports from 85 countries worldwide. The Olympics will run 17 days in the resort city. They'll include 1,650 Paralympians, and they'll be traveling to Sochi from 45 countries. Total number of events, 89. Some of them will take place near Sochi's coast, others in the mountains overlooking the city. These could be the most expensive winter games ever. Russia's spending at least $50 billion on things like roads, railways, stadiums, ski jumps, and security. Russia says these will be the most secure Olympics ever. 25,000 police officers, 8,000 additional security officers. The country's confident in Olympic safety, and that's despite recent terrorist bombings in another Russian city. And these could be the warmest games ever. Sochi's average temperature in February, 47 degrees Fahrenheit. It's colder than that in Vail, Colorado, one of America's largest ski resorts. It has some of the best skiing in the U.S. In Vail's backcountry, away from the mountain itself, the terrain is only for the most experienced skiers and snowboarders. There isn't avalanche control here, and 2 skiers and 2 snowboarders got caught in a sudden slide of snow Tuesday. 3 of them were temporarily trapped. The 4th person, the grandson of one of Vail's co-founders, was killed. Officials believe the avalanche was caused by the skiers and snowboarders. Conditions might have been ripe for one.
What we've been seeing over the last, say, 10 days or so is just a general increase in the size of the avalanches in the backcountry.
Why is that?
Well, we have some very weak snow near the ground that formed early in the season, and we've been getting kind of consistent snowfall, so the slab over it is starting to get thicker and larger.
Skier Davis Lemaire recently rescued his brother from an avalanche in this same area. Clearly shows you how quick and dangerous these events can be.
Time for the shout out. Which of these college sports is not regulated by the NCAA? Think you know it? Shout it out. Is it baseball, football, water polo, or none of the above? In addition to football and baseball, the NCAA oversees many college sports, including water polo, rifle, and bowling. That's your answer, and that's your shout-out.
NCAA athletes are known for competing at top collegiate levels, but at some schools, they may not be able to compete academically. Why does that matter if they're helping bring in money for universities in sports like football and basketball, and if they're hoping to go pro? Well, for one thing, they probably won't. The percentage of NCAA football players who go pro, 1.7%. Percentage of NCAA basketball players who go pro, 1.2%. And the chances of high school athletes going pro are well below 1% for every major U.S. sport. This is why the low test scores reported for many of today's college athletes are causing concern well beyond campus.
The University of North Carolina is not just an athletic powerhouse with dedicated fans. It's also a top-tier academic institution. But one academic counselor there, who spent years tutoring student athletes, says too many of them can't even read.
I mean, we may as well just go over to Glenwood Elementary right up the street and just let all the 4th graders in here, 3rd graders in here.
They can't read, and there are no remedial classes. What's the option? To cheat?
The other option is to cheat. That's correct. Or to find some professor, some course of curriculum where there are professors or there is little or no work expected of the student.
Mary Willingham says there are athletes who come to the University of North Carolina who are reading at a 3rd and 4th grade level. She says there's no way for them to succeed in a college classroom. The only place they can succeed here is on the football field. Willingham is one of the few people we could find who's looking at the reading levels of athletes in the revenue-generating sports, football and basketball.
They're leaving here, our profit sport athletes, without an education. They're significantly behind the level of reading and writing that's required.
With the university's permission, she combed through 8 years' worth of test scores and found that up to 25% of athletes in the revenue sports don't have the skills to take classes at a community college. let alone a competitive university like UNC. Looking at 183 football and basketball players between 2004 and 2012, Willingham found that 8% were reading below a 4th grade level, and 60% were reading between a 4th and 8th grade reading level. We wanted to know, is this happening at other schools? The NCAA told us that in 2012 alone, there were 30 football and basketball players who were admitted with very low test scores. Of course, they point out that's just a small percentage of the 5,700 athletes admitted that year who are playing those sports. But we wanted to know for ourselves. So we filed open records requests at 37 public universities across the country where open records laws apply. We asked for 6 years worth of data. We got data back from 21 Division I universities, including top 25 ranked football schools like Texas A&M, Georgia, Oklahoma State, Ohio State, and Clemson. The results were startling. Most schools had between 7 and 18% of football and basketball players scoring so low on the reading portion of their exams, experts told us they would only be reading at an elementary level. That's an ACT score of 16 or less, or below a 400 on the reading portion of the SAT. But many of the universities had different explanations for low test scores, like Texas, which said some athletes don't try very hard, aiming only to become NCAA eligible. Or Washington, which pointed out low scores may indicate learning disabilities. And Louisville, which said entrance exams are just one factor considered when admitting a student athlete. You can read their full responses on CNN.com. Not every school we asked would give us information. In fact, about half refused or said they'd send the data after football season. Why did we first go to UNC? We were following up on a scandal from 2 years ago, when it was discovered that many student athletes were enrolled in classes that required little or no work. Even though the NCAA said it found no athletic scandal, a professor was recently indicted for fraud, and UNC's own internal investigation found evidence of academic fraud. As a result, the school says it put in place 120 reforms and insists that UNC's athletic program is now clean. You're confident here that you're doing the right thing by student athletes?
I'm very confident. And I think our track record over time that we admit students can do the work. Now, we are also highly competitive, and our students have to compete Monday to Friday as well as they do on Saturday. And I think the ones that are really committed to being outstanding students, they are.
Mary Willingham says she's skeptical these changes have made a difference.
We say that we made 120 changes, which you can make all the changes you want, but if you're still not meeting students where they're at as an educator and bringing them along so that they can have success in the classroom, then those changes are all for nothing.
CNN also talked to a dozen professors and advisors at multiple universities, and they echoed what Mary Willingham found. Now, the universities argue they're satisfied with their overall graduation rates. But the question, of course, is how do these athletes graduate if they can't read? Sarah Gannam, CNN, Washington.
From Newport to Noonan, we're hitting states on both U.S. coasts in today's CNN Student News Roll Call. In Newport, Washington, hello to the Grizzlies of Newport High School. Stopping by New Mexico to check in with the Monzano High School Monarchs in Albuquerque. Monarchs rule. And from Noonan, Georgia, shout out to the Cougars of Noonan High School. Thanks to some of you for visiting earlier this week. Think fast. Favorite vending machine food? Candy, cookies, snack bar, sure. But a burrito? Oh no. But oh yes, says this beef, bean, and tortilla machine. It's located at a West Hollywood gas station, and some of those who tried it say for the price, the burritos are pretty good. They're $3 each, so you can do the math on that. The machine offers free Wi-Fi for the wait because it does somehow cook the food. After all, no one would want a burrito. It's pretty neato, and it shows you how vending machines are just stuffed with possibilities. Well, now the secret's out, we've spilled the beans, and we'll be looking to fold more news into tomorrow's 10-minute wrap, so we hope you'll eat that up. For CNN Student News, I'm Carl Azus.